Greetings, loved ones. Let's take a journey.
It's time for an Amanda Exclusivo.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Amanda Exclusivo. I'm your host, Amanda Geffner. My guest today is an actor, comedian, and longtime LGBTQ plus trailblazer. That's right. He's here to talk about his new film, Redlining. Please welcome Jason Stuart. Hi, Jason.
Hey. Hello.
Nice to meet you. I'm so excited to have you on.
Well, Amanda, the name is has so much history for me because my first girlfriend was named Amanda, and who I'm still friends with, and I think she's been married 4 or 5 times since and she's finally found the best guy. So the name Amanda always has a close place in my heart.
Well, I'm happy I can be added to your list of Amandas now. It's
And
a
Amanda
great name.
Burse. Amanda Burse is in my series Smothered from Married with Children, and she was a wonderful friend when she was living here in Palm Springs, where I live.
Oh my God. No, I mean, us Amandas, we've got it. We've got it down, you know. So congratulations on your film Redlining. It's
Oh
awesome.
yeah, it's like giving birth to a child. I've never felt so close to a project. I guess because um, this one I was involved with it from the gestation. I created the idea by myself, and then I brought people on. Usually, I'll meet with someone and we'll sort of confab together, if that's a word. We'll think of the ideas together. But this one is completely started on my own, and then Lee Garlington helped me do the rewrite and made the script absolutely wonderful.
No, that's awesome. We're going to talk a little bit more about redlining a little bit later, but I just want to get to know you a little bit. So, what do you like better, being an actor or a comedian?
Well, I always quote Barbara Streisand. So Barbara Streisand is known for being a singer, but she really thinks of herself as an actress. That's her root. So me, I'm known for being a comedian, but my roots are being an actor, and my roots of being an actor are so much longer and so much deeper. I only became a comedian because I couldn't get a job as an actor. They would let a gay guy in the 80s work, basically. You just say, when you get older, you'll be a character actor, and it set me down a complete path that I think that I probably wouldn't have gone on if it would have been a different time. So being a comedian has been a wonderful thing. It's given me a notoriety. It made me a lot of money, where I wouldn't have been able to as a gay guy who was an actor. It also created I guess a pinpoint of some sort to burst me into the scene. Whereas being an actor, I just didn't exist in those days. Whoever I was didn't exist. I didn't even know who I was, honestly, because I didn't know. It took me, a while to figure out who I was as an actor and where I would fit in. Or then I
Wow.
just basically created that place because it didn't exist.
Yeah.
People would
So,
always say, You're Paul Lynn, you're that kind of funny guy," and I thought, no, well, I like him and he's really talented, but that's not me. You know, it's not really who I am in my heart. I'm not just a one quick funny line kind of guy. There's more to me, and I want to do more. I started off in acting classes when I was 14 in professional classes. So I saw myself at that time as Richard Thomas and on the Waltons. I thought that I was like John Boy. I was deep. And then when I saw Ordinary People with Timothy Hutton, changed everything. Changed everything for me.
why is
That
that?
well, that movie number one was written by Alvin Sargent, who's probably one of the most brilliant screenwriters that ever lived. People know a lot of his other films, Julia, Dominic and Eugene, and he also did the Spider-Man, the early movies. And he's such an incredible screenwriter, and it really taught me how a scene can be about something completely different than what you're really talking about. And it was also one of the most exciting performances by Mary Tyler Moore I think I'd ever seen, and by any woman starring in a movie, and certainly not recognized as much as it should be because it was really brilliant, I thought. And I remember going to see Airplane, the movie. Everybody said, "Oh, it's so funny, you must go see it." And then
It's a
afterwards, they
great
said,
movie.
"Yeah, I didn't. I thought, it's okay. It's about a lot of dumb old jokes. Great. Okay, she can talk jive. Not
Yeah.
my usual." And I watched it. And I thought it was funny. And then they said, "Well, if you want to stay, you can watch this movie with Judd Hirsch from Taxi and uh, Mary Tyler Moore and Donald Sutherland." I said, "Oh, great!" So I stayed there and I watched it. And as Pocketball Cannon came up and the camera came up, and it just pulled me in, and it just changed the way I thought of being an actor. And Timothy Hutton I had gone to high school with, so he was in my high school,
What a
and
small world.
yeah, so I didn't really know him, and then afterwards I'd seen him at the Hamburger Hamlet and at the urinal, like any good fan. But I waited till I waited till he was done, and I said,
Right.
this is my sort of thing when I do with famous people. I never say hello, I love your work. Da, da, da. I just said, you're gonna get nominated for an Oscar. He said, "Oh no." I said, "Yeah, it's gonna happen." I always talk to people like I just know them because I figure they know that and it doesn't matter, and I just get to the point and then leave them alone. But that's I knew that. I knew it. I just knew it. And the movie, created a whole myriad of films, what they used to call in the 50s kitchen sink dramas. And this was a family drama about, I guess, death and whose fault it is, and how you live your life, and how you figure out who you are, and how you survive things that happen that you're completely powerless over. So that movie really was a template. And my other film that I directed, like Father, was sort of based on it in terms of the style of the film.
So tell me, like, when did your love for acting and comedy begin? And do you have what's your best go-to joke?
Oh God.
I know there's probably so many, but
You
you
mean
have
in
to have a
terms
good
of in terms of how to start a show and get them on my side?
Yeah.
So I'll have a myriad of those kind of jokes, though I have made mistakes occasionally, which because I think it's okay to just be who I am and forget that some people aren't used to a gay guy being in charge in a headlining position, in a powerful position. And I'll say something like sometimes, "Hey, you weren't expecting a gay guy to be the headliner, right? You're more expecting me to be in a restaurant going, 'Hi, would you like super salad with that?'" Fuck you. But my big opening jokes, I guess, the thing I say a lot is I read in the paper the other day that only 1% of this country is gay. And if that's true, I've slept with everybody.
Oh my
And you
God.
know who you are. Or I say I'm gay and Jewish and I'm pissed, because I am. Right? Or this show's going to be just a little different. But that I used to do a lot. That isn't probably as prevalent anymore because there are a lot of gay men who are doing comedy now. Not as many. And there's still, I think, a bit of a. We're sort of like straight girls in the 70s and 80s. There's like one of us on every bill, well, one, but that's it, never more, hardly ever. Though at the Laugh Factory, which is my home club, they, the other night once we had two gay guys on a bill, and I thought, my God, a transgender person, gay guy, black, Jewish, Latino, woman. I don't even know if we had one straight Christian man. So
Wow.
I was at the Long Beach Club, and I was going, wow, this is like, times are changing, but that's rare. It's still a straight boy world. It's still a straight boy world.
All right. So for those of us that don't know you, you've appeared in shows from Kindergarten Cop to Vegas Vacation to The Closer and My Wife and Kids. What was your most memorable role?
Oh God, you're going to ask me to pick one thing out of a
I mean, you
15-year
don't have to
career.
pick one,
Oh my
but
God. So The Closer was a big, big career change because I decided that I wasn't going to, I toured for almost 20, 25 years, headlining clubs. And I had just done my special, Making It to the Middle, that went to Here TV was sold to, which is the Here Media, which is the gay network, and then they sold it to Netflix. And I believe, I'm not 100% sure, but I was one of the first openly gay comedians to have an hour special on Netflix. Um, I think when I did The Closer, I played a guy who talked like this, and I played this guy that was the manager of a storage facility. All of a sudden, I'm able to play straight people. Now that part brought me to guest starring on Sean Baker, the guy has the Oscar now, his series called War and the Ape, and then that brought me to Tangerine, and then that brought me, so I think that was really groundbreaking for me, because all of a sudden people thought, oh, he's not just a funny gay guy, and he's not just a fussy manager. You know, I was always the manager who was in charge, but yet had no power. That was my thing. I did a lot of them. Hotel managers, you know, apartment manager, any manager you could think of. And on The Closer, I was the manager of a storage facility.
Wow. What was it
But
like working with Kira Sedgwick?
it was extraordinary. So I'm not, you know, of course it's great to make friends with people, but I don't take myself seriously as an artist, but I do take my work seriously. And I
Mhm.
think a lot of people do the other way. And I saw her sitting off to the side and she had these earphones in, you know, and this show was a procedural. So she had tons and tons of dialogue all the time. So I saw her listening almost the whole time she was listening to dialogue. So we didn't talk a lot. But my friend Adam Belanoff, who I'm actually going to be staying with next week when I go to LA, I stayed in his house sometimes. And he was the writer producer on the show. And so was James Duff, who I also knew. And I had asked him if, you know, I would call him and say, hey, is there anything for me on the show? And then my agent told me there was this part of a storage facility guy, but they wanted this older, fat, kind of blue collar guy. And I said, well, I can do that. And then, but of course, you know, couldn't get in. So I called Adam and I said, can you get me in? He got me in. And I sat there and the cast director comes over to me, Bruce, and he says, you know, they hate everybody today. Just do something different. So I thought, oh, all right, I'm going to do this guy. I'm going to talk like this. And if you watch the show, you see that every single moment in that, I didn't get it at the time, but I knew how to work, but I didn't get that I was doing it. Because, God, you know, you get beat up a lot in this business.
Mhm.
So you just try to keep on the path. And you just kind of keep doing the work and you keep your head down. That's what my dad always used to say. And I realized that when I watched it over, because I showed it to this kid that I'm mentoring, I said, we were talking about acting and I was coaching him on a audition. And I said, look at each moment and how I'm angry at the beginning of the scene. I'm frustrated. Why? It's not in the script. I decided that I'd been sitting there 2 hours waiting for her. So I made this, and all of a sudden it was a whole different thing. And as the conversation goes on, you see me getting excited. Like I'm really into the whole idea of helping him with this case. You know, so I made all these really specific choices. And I think that changed the way people thought about me because I didn't have those kind of opportunities when I was younger. Most of the time, I would have a really funny scene in a movie. I would go in, say something funny, and leave. And I was at a party, and a guy said to me once, he said, oh, you're that guy. He said, you go on, and you come in, and you say something funny, and then you leave, and you never come back. I thought that's what I want you. So then I started to come back around 15, 20 years ago. Those things started to change. That part really, and I guess the part that really completely changed me as a human being is when I had a major supporting role in the film Birth of a Nation that Nate Parker had directed, starred in, and co-wrote and produced. And number one, this man is amazing. He's it really shows you how the director really sets the tone on the set and the idea of doing your best work. And the story is long. I'll give you the short version.
Okay.
I'm pretty long-winded, as you can see. I can see you going, oh God, once again, this is too
No,
long.
not at
Oh, is
all.
it? But if you want things shorter, I can do it shorter. But I'd seen in the paper, in the Variety, that they were getting agent. They were not agents. They were giving tax breaks to all these states all over, like New Orleans, and it was at the time I think it was Michigan and Atlanta. And I got this agent in New Orleans, and she helped me get this part as a white heterosexual Christian plantation owner in 1831. Now, no one ever in LA would think that I could play that part, ever, ever.
Why is that?
So, well, because I was a funny gay guy, or was a fussy manager, or now I was an annoying Jew, and those were the things they let me do. I had to prove everything. You see, like a straight guy can go play a gay guy in a thing, and if he's cute, they'll just give him the part. They don't care if he even has that essence because they see the way somebody looks physically or how they move. So I completely changed my physical behavior and everything. And I remember doing that film. There's so much to it. It meant so much to me. I went into I pay on my own dime. My New Orleans agent had me going. I did an audition on tape. That was it. Didn't think about it. And then they asked for a callback, and I went to Savannah, Georgia. Stayed in this shit hotel with this rent-a-wreck with a a pregnant woman smoking a cigarette off the balcony and a guy by the pool that looked like he was going to kill me in my sleep.
Oh God.
And I went to the audition 3 hours early, and I'm sitting in this big parking lot in a strip mall, half hour out of Savannah, Georgia, and some guy comes over to me and he says, "I know you." I thought, I'm a fan in the middle of a strip mall, half hour out of Savannah, Georgia, and it was Nate Parker. And he said, I don't even remember. He just looked at me and he was so handsome and he had this incredible aura about him, this sort of positive, excited energy. And I felt like I was a part of something. And I remember I went in and I read, and he asked me to read it again. He said, that was great. Can you be funny in this? This guy's a blowhard. I thought, I felt like Barbara Streisand and Funny Girl. Can I roller skate? Are you kidding me? So I, did the part again. I said, and this is when I started to get bold. It was in the late 2000, late aughts. And I said, can I do both scenes? Because I knew the second scene was a long walk and talk where I had most of the dialogue. So I said, can I, start at the beginning? And I did it. And he said, thank you very much. That was wonderful. And I thought I would never get this. I was up for a play that Amy Madigan was, oh God, I forgot about this. Yeah. It was directing at the Odyssey. And she puts my hand in her face. And I was up for the part of a fussy hotel manager.
Mm-hmm.
And she says, oh my God, you're so interesting. And so this and so that. And I thought, I'm going to get this. And I even told the casting director, look, I'm flying to when's the callback? He said, it's then. We set it up. And he thought I was too. And didn't happen. And then I get home and after the audition, and I'm exhausted. And I get a call from my agent. And she says, she goes, how's your day going? I said, well, it's fine. She says, well, it's going to get a lot better. And I said, well, why? She said, well, you got the part. And I said, well, what part? Because I'd auditioned for a number of things, indie
Right.
films. And she says, well, the plantation owner. I said, don't you tease me. I got really serious. I said, because,
Yeah.
and then she said, no, you did. And I just burst into tears. I
Oh.
could not believe it. And it was one of the most incredible creative experiences. I had these really long things to say and, different kinds of dialect. It's hard times with small farmers like you and myself. Breaking even's hard enough, but getting ahead's impossible now. To save some, I cut 'em back to a meal a day per head. And that's halfway in. It was so different, the way I talk, the way I move. And it was extraordinary. And it changed the way I felt about myself. It changed the way I felt about myself as a white privileged person, even though I'm Jewish and I'm gay, and I don't really consider myself white because I've considered, in the Jewish community, we consider we call them the goyim, white heterosexual Christian, that we consider white. I'm a Holocaust survivor's son. I don't see myself, and a gay man who's trying to do something that people don't want him to do. And when I went down red carpets and I was involved in the PR, and I was the only person that didn't have a 3-letter agent that was invited to everything. And I was asked to walk down a red carpet, and some really cute blonde gal says, so how do you feel? How do you feel about this whole thing? You're paying such a really bad guy. And I said, well, first of all, it's a privilege to be a part of this story and telling American history about Nat Turner, which I knew nothing about. And she said, well, what's your feeling? I said, well, this is what I do is I take off my shoes, put on the shoes of my black siblings, and then I shut up and I listen. And I just said that because that's what it felt like the right thing to do was. And my best friends, Dalila Ali Raja, who's in Redlining, and Kareem Ferguson, both sort of shared a lot of feelings of what was it like to be Black in America during all the Black Lives Matter stuff. And I learned even more about the idea that my opinion really isn't important. What's really important is to learn to listen to other people and say, hey, that's your experience. I respect that. And to learn that I really don't know what it's like to be somebody else. So by giving my opinion, it doesn't mean much. It's not about me. Like, I don't want someone telling me what it's like to be a Jew or what it's like to be a gay person or what it's like to be a man over a certain age, because you don't know until you get there. I'm dating a guy now half my age, and he says to me, he says, well, age doesn't matter. It's just a number. I said, well, when you're in your 30s, it's a number. When you're my age, over 50, it's not a number anymore. It's a death sentence. That's what it is. you know. So that's one of my favorite roles. I mean that, and there's so many others. I've been really lucky. I really
Yeah,
have.
but now you're on to bigger and better things, redlining. Congratulations again. So tell me about the
Thanks.
movie and how it came about.
Well, from all of this, it's a gestation. I had a DP that I was working with on Like Father, a film that I directed, a short that I made about a father who wanted his son to forgive him before he passed away, and I played the dad. And I my mom is almost 89 and she lives next door to me. Hashtag I don't live with my mother. She lives next door. And she would tell me about our neighborhood that we moved into. Then when the Jews moved into the neighborhood, a lot of the Christians moved out. And then when the blacks moved in, some of the Jews moved out. And I didn't know that. And then I looked up what redlining meant. And I started reading about it, and I started thinking, what do I want to do next? Because I always make things. I never don't make things. I always like to create, my partner on Smothered, which is the TV did, the short form series I did. I don't know, he wrote this or I did, but he said, we don't wait for permission to create. So I'm always making something, and I've been doing it since the 80s. I didn't even know it, you know. And if somebody wouldn't let me do something, I just did it. And I started to write this idea about a black family and a white family that live on the same property in the 70s. And when all the parents pass away, who gets the house and why? And it's really about generational wealth. And I think that's the biggest problem, in this country. It's like everybody made such a big stink about what Billie Eilish said at the Grammys. She said, how can you steal, you know, how can you
Right.
live on ground that's already been stolen? I'm misquoting her, but it made such sense to me because, and if you look at any Indian history, Indians believe that you can't own the land, that it's God's country, and that everybody should be able to live somewhere and build a house, which I love that idea, but that will never, not in this crazy world we're living in right now.
Oh, yeah.
But, you know, so I wanted to do something, and then I wrote it, and then my friend Jake Hunter, who I produce with, a kid that I've been mentoring for so long, and he's just fabulous, Emmy winner, actor, and producer, Emmy winning producer. He helped me a little in the beginning because I like to do things out loud, and then I called my friend Lee Garlington, and if anybody knows her, she's an extraordinary actress with over 300 credits and been on 10 series and a million movies, and she agreed to help me rewrite it because I thought it could be better. I thought it was good, but it was a little too European, a little too Terrence Malick-esque, but that's what I wanted. But so she helped me define it more. And then she also came on as a producer and let us use her house, and she was wonderful. And then my best friend, Alexandra Paul from Baywatch, I wrote this part for her playing my mother. Now, we're around the same age. And I wanted, when I saw what happened to Pamela Anderson, I thought, why can't this happen to her? There is life after Baywatch. Just because you do what I call a popcorn show and you become a sex symbol doesn't mean that you can't do something else. It's like just because I'm a funny gay guy doesn't mean I can't play a plantation owner or a detective or something else. So that was the whole concept of the film, and then it just kept growing and growing, and now we're starting our festival run. So hopefully to do these interviews, people at the festivals, because it's not easy to get into them. The right person has to watch it. The right person has to know who the people are in it. And a lot of the cast members are over 50. And almost all of the straight guys, the straight guy parts are played by gay guys. And I didn't even realize that till that was over.
That's crazy, honestly.
Isn't it? Yeah, no, I mean a
Yeah.
lot of women in powerful positions, production designer, hair, producers, associate producers, and So it was it's really a wonderful film, and a producer friend of mine just watched it and told me he thought it was so great. He says you're going to get into all these festivals. I just got that this morning, so that was
That's
really
so
nice.
nice.
Yeah.
That's so nice. But what's next for you with redlining? Or are you
Well,
working on any other projects?
it's the film festival circuit, and then yeah. So this is what's happening now, is I have four movies that I did and an independent series. I did a movie called Blackwood, which is I've done horror films, but nothing like this is a real horror film. You know, I play that guy that lives down the block, and he'd say, "Well, Amanda, you're an awful pretty girl, so I know what you're doing later because I think
Uh,
that we should hang." Yeah, see, and I played this guy, and I always wanted to play that guy. And it's a funny story because I was driving this truck. It's like I think from the 80s or something, and you know the shocks are gone, and we're doing a drive, and I talk mostly in this thing, and I'm driving, and we're on this little road, and Sugarloaf was this little town in California, which is around, I think, I don't know, 4 hours out of LA. And I'm driving this truck now. I thought I can drive a truck, right? I'm a California boy. Well,
yeah.
it was really hard, and the director is in the back shooting with the camera through the window, and we're driving, you know, and he said, "Funny, stop, cut, Jason, you're driving too fast." I almost killed the director, you know. And then we just kept doing the scene over and over and over again, and it was this little road that was so thin, and then these cows came out, and I had to wait. So I just improvised all this dialogue, you know.
That's so funny.
That's that cow. That's Max's cow. You know, he had 3 legs, but we still liked him, and his milk wasn't that good. But it was and I just made about, well, you know, you could use it for sweet and low or half and half, I think it's called. And I did that, and it's just a wonderful film. And then I did another film called I Got Next, and this filmmaker, Chris Baxter, it's his first feature, I think, Christopher Baxter, and it's about this special needs kid, and I play a basketball coach. Now, who thought that I would be able to play a basketball coach? And I just got the film; they just sent it to me, and I am really good in it. I didn't think, oh, can I get away with that? You know, hey, you kids. It's not a tea party. Let's go. Come on. You know, and I'm this tough guy, but I'm tough, but I'm a good guy. I'm nice. And I did that, and then I did that film's coming out, and then I did a film called what was the other one? Two other films. I don't even know if they're going to come out. One of them's in a lawsuit, but
Oh my
but
God.
yeah, and then I got to do something really. I did this gay series called Some Kind of Wonderful, and Greg Louganis had done the pilot, and he moved to Paraguay. So I guess he got a deal to do the series, and Greg couldn't do it. So I replaced him, and I got to play. He sends me an email, the director, and he says, "I know you're a character actor, but there's this part of the boyfriend, and in the series, and I don't know if this would be your cup of tea or whatever." And then he says after, "Well, you've lost all this weight, and you really look great, by the way." And I thought, I'm getting a part because I look good. And I thought, oh my God. And he said, "I hope you're not offended by that," because we talked about it. And he said, "No." I said, "Offended? What a compliment. Are you kidding? It's not just about my talent anymore. It's about the way I look." Yes. I want, you know, I'm a daddy and I have candy now. And I played this guy that's basically, you know, not available. The guy that I usually date that's unavailable. That's what, you know, that's unavailable to the boyfriend. So that was nice. And I hadn't played a gay role in a while. And even if I've played gay parts, it's interesting. They're not what I used to do. I don't. Because I'll say it. It doesn't.
You can say it.
In redlining, I do play a gay man, but you would never know it. I play a guy who doesn't have a voice, and Kareem plays my boyfriend. And in the story, we grew up in the same house. He lives in the carriage house with his mom, his cousin, and his dad. And I live in the big house with my mom and my sister and my dad. My father is an alcoholic. And we fall in love over the years, and no one knows until the years go on. And then it comes out quite a bit when my mom passes away. And Alexander Paul plays the part from late, from I'd say early 40s to late 70s. So and we did this, oh my God, the makeup gal, Lederman is just brilliant. And we had Dennis Bailey, who did Mean Girls, the musical, do the hair. And, you know, he did a great job with my hair. And he was just, we had such great department heads. I mean, it was just really, and somebody just wrote to me who saw the film. They said, God, the detail of the film, you know, and I think that tells the story. Because I like films from ordinary people, which is my template, where you don't have to say everything. You can show it, you know.
I gotta ask, since you mentioned hair, I stumbled across on your Instagram this beautiful picture of you.
Oh my God.
What was the hair inspo here, Jason?
Oh God, that's Keith Partridge. That's from the Partridge Family. I was 15. Oh my God, look at me. Do I look like I don't look that different.
No, your face still looks the same, but I was just wondering what's going on with the hair.
It left the planet. It just went, and you know, we didn't have Rogaine. We didn't have all the stuff that everybody's doing. Do you notice a lot of these older straight leading men, or just I don't even know why I said it. It's leading men. Period. You notice that they all have their hair. They're doing all this preventative stuff. There's all sorts of. If you have a lot of money, boy, you ever notice all the women are real shiny on the award shows?
Yeah.
It's because they take out all the blood out of their body, and I don't know what they do, but it's something they do. So the faces are like
this, right?
you know, it's like,
Yeah.
hi, I haven't had a feeling since. I'm really, really depressed right now. I'm just really depressed, you know. Speaking of comedy, should we tell some of my comedy dates?
Yes, go on. Do
I would love to do
What
that
you
because I love meeting people after the shows, and I love meeting, especially fans that have been hitting me up on social media for a million years that I never get to meet, and then you go somewhere and then you meet them. So I'm going to be doing the Comedy Chateau February 27th. I will be doing a show in Santa Barbara. It's called the Speakeasy Comedy Bar. And it's really this sort of cool place, with this, and I'm working with this gal, Brenda Pontiff. She's going to be featuring for me. And then in Palm Springs, I'm actually doing a comedy talkback, where I'm going to do a Q&A, a career retrospective for it's called, what is it called, the festival? Burnt Bits Comedy Festival. And this guy named Dakota Miracle is the runner of this, really the straight guy that's just incredible. And then I'll be doing a little guest set in one of the shows. And then I'm doing a show at the Ice House. Oh, that's on March 22nd. And then on March 28th, I'll be at the Ice House in Pasadena, which is just one of the most, they redid the whole club. It's absolutely gorgeous. And then I'm doing San Diego, the Laugh Factory, April 17th and 18th. And then I'll be at the Agua Caliente Casino in Palm Springs on August 21st. And then we'll see what else comes my way. And, you know, I hate it when somebody does this, I guess. What did he say? What did he say? Just go to jasonstuart.com, Stuart, and look at the appearance.
Well, you heard it here first, guys. Go see Jason. I mean, he's not busy or anything. That's what I'm getting out of this.
Well, you look at you. You do. This is I watch some of your stuff. It's terrific.
Thank
You're
you
a
so
wonderful,
much.
wonderful, wonderful interviewer.
But before I let you go, I gotta let you play my speed round game. It's
Oh my God, I love this. This is my favorite thing to do.
yes. So what we're gonna do is I'm gonna ask you as many questions as I can.
Just to let you know, my first credit on television was audio, and it was on Password. I was sitting in the audience, and somebody screamed. Jack Klugman was on the show, and they said, "What night is The Odd Couple on ABC?" And I said, "Friday night at 8:30 or whatever it was." And they said, "Well, give that guy $1." And that was my first time ever heard my voice on TV.
So you're gonna ace this pretty much.
So speed
we're
round
looking
is
for
my
speed.
thing.
Yeah, so we're looking for speed. My record, someone answered 22 questions last season in 1 minute. So I
Oh
would
my
like
God.
you to
Okay,
break the
wait, I
record.
gotta hold on. Okay.
I would like you to break the record for my season 3.
I'm ready. I'm wearing my
right.
George Jetson outfit here.
I got mine too. See,
look at that. We look like we're in the future.
But when you're ready, I'm going to start the timer and let's see how you do.
Okay.
All right. Jason, here we go. Coffee or tea?
Tea.
Stand-up stage or film set?
Film set.
Your first celebrity crush?
Oh God. Omar Sharif.
Your favorite comfort food?
Oh, bread. Bread!
What's a word your friends use to describe you? One word.
Emotional.
Online dating, yay or nay?
Nay. Ugh.
Movie you've watched the most?
Yours, Mine, and Ours with Lucille Ball and Henry Fonda.
Night owl or early bird?
Night Owl.
Beard or clean shaven?
Beard.
Your favorite Broadway show?
Funny Girl.
Go-to karaoke song?
My Man.
What's something that instantly makes you laugh?
Lily Tomlin.
Your favorite city to perform in?
California. City, Los Angeles.
Improv or scripted?
Improv.
Oh, the time's up. You answered 14 questions and
Damn it! Because the emotional was wrong. That was wrong. What did my friends say? That's a hard one. What do they say about you?
I
don't
know. I know.
I am
some good ones,
emotional.
though.
I am emotional, but I don't make me sound like I'm, a nutcase.
So you're a nay on online dating. How did you meet your boyfriend?
He's not my boyfriend. We just started dating, and he's too young for me. Way too young. But my mom says, "Go have fun. Have fun with him."
Oh, well, anytime you want to come back and talk about anything, I'd love to have you.
Tomorrow, I need a little session.
Oh, tomorrow. Okay, Jason will come back tomorrow.